I'll just give him, just sort of start spraying lightly, very lightly on the paper towel, very lightly on, directly right on him. If he wasn't so alert right now, because I've been having my hands in the cage, he would just start drinking the water from his coils. Try not to spray them with water that's too cold. Try to just have a little spray bottle that's at room temperature, and that'll keep them from freaking out like, that's way too cold. It's like getting splashed in the face with freezing cold water. I mean, they feel it too, and they'll just jerk back and not drink. But yeah, that's pretty much. Oh yeah, and here, why not? While I'm at it, let's give the plants a little water. They enjoy that too. Why not? So that'll keep the humidity nice and warm, nice and warm, nice and humid. Humidity, redundancy. So. Yeah, so as you can see, he's nice and moist. And as far as feeding goes, I read a really good article. I can't remember what the website was. If anyone really wants to read it, just let me know. I'll post the link. But he said a really good quote, and that's, these guys are not Burmese pythons. If you've known the Burmese python, you will know that those guys have a savage appetite. And you can feed them, back to back, just feed them over and over and over, and just keep giving them bigger prey items, and they will explode in size. And they'll do really well, and they'll, thrive and be really healthy. Whereas these little guys, because they're an arboreal species, their digestive tract is really, really glacier slow. And feeding them too much can actually even kill them. If you give them too big a prey item, they'll be really uncomfortable sitting in coil. Their body will just be bloated, and they won't coil up as nice. And if you feed them over and over, it can actually just build up in their intestines, block, and end up killing them. So this is really a snake that you feed them sparingly. Don't go too crazy on the size. I usually feed mine a little bit smaller than the thickest part of his body, so pinky rats work really, really well. I feed him. I use the 3 prey items and wait till they poop rule. So if he eats 3 pinky rats and doesn't poop, he will not get food until he does. And don't be scared. They can easily go 2 weeks without eating, not even a problem. They can go much longer, but if they haven't pooped within 3 weeks after waiting 3 weeks before that, them not pooping, you might want to stick them in a warm bath. They hate water, by the way. They don't like swimming. There you go. He seems to be drinking a little bit. They don't like swimming. They will freak out if you put them in a water bath, and they'll start thrashing around. So what you can do is you fill up your little tub with water, warm water, and put in a towel. So the towel will be soaking wet, and you could just put them in there and close the lid, and it'll be really humid, and that'll maybe help them poop. It's also a good trick if they get stuck shedding. But if you keep your humidity nice and high, he'll shed in one piece every time, like this little guy. Also, I've seen people who put them in the bathtub, and obviously don't fill up the bathtub, but just let the shower run on them with warm water, and that'll help them poop as well. Exercising them will help a lot too. They can be pretty bitey, and by bitey I mean they will do everything they can to rip your face off. This guy's calmed down quite a bit. I still don't trust him 100%, but he's a lot less nervous when I touch him. If I was doing this maybe a month ago, my hands would probably be bleeding by now. But exercising them, if they're really bitey, grab some gardening gloves and just let them move around, and just the movement will help their intestines get to work, and they'll poop a lot more. quite honestly, he poops every time. I feed him 3 times and he poops. I don't even have to wait. And yeah, the reason why he's calmed down is I play with him. I don't stress him out too much, but I'll take him out and I'll just let him roam around. Don't force it either. I mean, if your snake is pissed off and he's hissing at you, don't push it. It's kind of hard. You got to find a happy middle, because you can't. Like, let's say if he started hissing right now and he tried to bite me and I just moved my hand. Right, ran out of a little bit of space on my my phone there. So to continue, if that's it. If he struck at me, and I pull my back, close the doors, and leave, they'll learn very quickly that, hey, all I got to do is bite this huge thing, and he'll leave me alone, and they'll just get worse and worse. At the same time, you don't want to force them for too long, and then they just get stressed out, and then stop. They'll refuse to eat, and all kinds of problems like that. So you don't want to stress him out. So you got to find a happy middle, and he's kind of interested, but he's not too freaked out. So take your time. Don't be scared. Don't force them. You don't have to take them out. Just sort of, in the beginning when you first get them, just stick your hand in there. Don't touch them. Play around in the cage and just, pretend like you're not even interested in them, and, work your way up from there. But obviously they're not exactly the most handleable snakes. You don't really get these guys because, hey, you want a snake to wrap around your neck, and that's more of a ball python thing. But they're beautiful, like you can see right now. Like, look at how red this guy is. That's kind of my camera, to tell you the truth. He's a little more orange. He's really starting to turn. They're born red and turn more into green. When I bought this guy, he was even redder than how you see him now. He was like the reddest baby that I found in the store, and his lines aren't as thick as most of them, but his color was was absolutely beautiful. And that's kind of why you buy these guys, because it's sort of more of a challenge, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And you just even if he was the most aggressive snake, I would be happy, because just keeping him in a cage like that, and being able to look at him is more than enough. I mean, if you want a snake to play with, might not be the one for you. As far as these guys go, they can be a little picky, or at least that's what I noticed when you first get them, when they're babies, with food. And there's nothing more nerve-wracking than having one of these little jerks when they won't eat. And I've spent so much time trying to get this little guy to eat when I first got him, because he wanted nothing to do with food. He would just turn his head, which is kind of insulting. When they would bite your finger, when they see a finger, they'll just lunge at it. And then when you're showing them a mouse, they're just like, no dice. So you kind of, you sort of lose your mind after a while, especially because they're hunting at night. So to try to get them to eat, it's sort of easier for them, worse for you, because your patience, or at least mine are, at 2 in the morning, are way thinner. So, I would sit there for at least an hour and a half trying, like, every trick in the book, trying to get this guy to eat. And I'll tell you what works for me, or at least a couple of tricks you can try to get your snake, and these are good for all snakes, when they're being picky. So first, what you want to make sure is your prey item is warm, because that is the key to making these guys interested in something. They are just machines, evolved to, right there, look at all those heat pits. And they've evolved to sense heat, and that's really what triggers a strike for food, at least, or even your hand. The reason why they'll strike at a hand and not a hand that has a glove on it as much is because they feel the warmth coming from your hand, and they feel a lot of it, so they can see that it's big, and they'll strike at it. Their eyes, their eyes seem to be more for movement. I mean, they have good vision as far as I know. Maybe not the best, but they can really they use it more for seeing movement. So if your prey item is nice and warm and you jiggle it in front of him, more times than not he will strike at it. So that's what I would do. I tried many tricks like warming it and putting the pinky in a pinky mouse in a Ziploc bag and then putting that in warm water and then warming it up and then quickly, because a small pinky mouse will lose a lot of heat very quickly, especially when it's a little damp. So quickly taking it out of the bag and putting it in front of him. Also, even a hair dryer, but you got to be careful with a hair dryer because you might even cook your pinky. And I've even had nothing in the world smells worse than pinky guts, and nothing in the world is scarier than me at 2 in the morning with my hands full of pinky guts. I just get so mad, and so yeah, you obviously don't want that to happen. So just sort of keep the pinky fairly far from your hair dryer and just warm it up for a little bit. I mean, if your hand can take it, that means your pinky can take it, and just wait until it's nice and warm and just jiggle it in front of him. That usually will provoke a strike. Whether he'll eat it or not, in this case not, in this guy's case not. He would just strike at it and then just drop it. So try that, and like I said, these guys aren't really, you don't have to feed them. So, I mean, if you're trying for an hour, stop. Don't freak them out. If they haven't eaten within an hour, they're not going to eat later. So you can just stop, call it a night, get some sleep, maybe wait a day or two, maybe even a week, and then try again. So this guy went about a good 3 weeks without eating. So I went for a little more drastic measures and tried. You shouldn't really try to force feed these guys because they are pretty fragile. So I assist feed them. You can look that up, assist feeding for emerald tree boas. And what you do is you just grab them by the back of the neck, but don't squeeze. You just want to hold firmly so that their skull can't get between your fingers when they're trying to pull out. And be firm, be quick, and at the same time, don't hurt them. Because if you're, fumbling and you're trying to be too gentle and they're just slipping between your fingers, you're just causing more stress. So just be quick, be firm, be confident, and it'll work out fine. So you take the head of your snake in one hand, and then you might want to just, well, it's a little dark, but just, rest it. Like, let's say that's my lap. Just rest it so that his tail will probably wrap around your fingers in one hand. And then with the other hand, take the pinky and just gently push the pinky's head between its mouth so it separates his jaws, and then just push the head of the pinky into the back of the throat of your snake, and then wait. He's going to try, moving his head around. He's going to try pulling back. Hold firm. Gentle, of course. Don't choke him. Hold firm, and that'll be fine. Alright, happen again. So, as I was saying, you once you got them, the pinky pushed into the back of their throat, they will, it'll probably take about 15 minutes. They'll start to move their jaws, like that, slowly over the mouse. Don't let go just yet, because sometimes they like to play mind games with you. I mean, it's already late, and that's the perfect time to make you lose your goddamn mind by you letting go, and then they're like, ugh, and then they just spit it out, and then you just punch a hole through the wall. Not really, because, just go outside, grab a drink. I'm tired of this video already. Anyhow, yes, wait a little while. They're going to start to swallow it, and then you can, once you're pretty sure they're not going to spit it out, you can let go, and they will just start eating it by themselves. It worked for me about 2 times, and then he stopped eating again, which made me lose my mind even more. It's really a love-hate relationship with these little guys. Eventually what I ended up trying was just giving him a rat. So I got a little pinky rat instead, and he just lost it. he just